has been absolutely amazing. It's been phenomenal. It's been life-changing. It's been incredible. I could go on, but you see where we're going with this. I trust that you have had a wonderful day. I know I have. I'm glowing. Can you see? Can you see? I trust that you are glowing as well. It has always been our intention at My Hair, My Health to create a space where we as Black women can just revel in our royalty and our queendom and celebrate our beauty and wellness such that it radiates from the very depths of our soul out to the world. It is our hope that our time together has provided you with useful information as well as inspiration so that you can continue to hold your head high and walk on this earth like the valued, important, and powerful queen, princess, mother, daughter, sister, cousin, friend that you are. And so as we close out our time today, I have a few reminders for you. The first is this: we have a great opportunity drawing for you with a number of prizes that you will want to win. Trust me, we have got a juicer. What? I know, right? We've got an Instapot. I want to win that. We've got a diffuser with 20 essential oils included, so you can have some calm in your space at home. And we've also got some Amazon gift cards for prizes. So how do I win that, you're wondering? It's simple. All you've got to do is complete our post-evaluation survey. So once you complete the survey, you will be entered into the opportunity drawing. It is randomly selected, computer generated, so you can't blame us if you didn't win. And you will be contacted by email if you are a winner so we can get your prize to you. Now, those wonderful prizes are donated to us from a lot of the vendors that have been working with us on this program this year. And so I do want to invite you to visit the partner page for our vendor spotlight so you can get to know those organizations. They include Bench to Community Research Institute, or Initiative rather, All Natural Kinks, Freedom Space LLC, SPL Posh Jewelry and Accessories, Golden Pink Lux, Salve, Deity Hair and Body Care, Loma Linda University Medical Center and Health Possibilities Program, Cayenne Wellness Center, Justice for My Jewel Premium Sanitary Napkins, Beauty Counter Consultant, and Reverend Veronica Martindale Productions. So thank you so much to all of our vendors. I would also like to offer special thanks to our sponsors, Riverside Community Health Foundation, Healthy Heritage Movement, Just Move Consulting, and San Bernardino County Department of Public Health Nutrition Program. Kudos to all of you. Special thanks to Riverside Community Health Foundation and Healthy Heritage staff, as well as the My Hair, My Health Planning Committee. Because of you and all of your hard work, this was possible. You pulled off our very first virtual conference, woo-hoo! And you are all superstars in my book. So thank you for your dedication to the community, and thank you for your service. Now, if you missed a session, no need to worry, no need to fret, no need to stress, right? We talked about that all day today. If you want to revisit any of these amazing presentations, you absolutely can. It is easy. Just go back onto the page as a registrant, and you can go to the on-demand feature and watch any session that you choose. So you have the capability to revisit and rewatch and continue to adapt and put into practice all of those strategies and principles and tools that were shared with us today. I believe that those presentations will be available through the remainder of the calendar year, so please feel free to visit often. In addition, we encourage you to stay connected with us, stay connected with My Hair, My Health via our social media platforms. We want to stay engaged with you. And we're getting ready, even now, to plan for 2021. Now, before we close out, in typical fashion, whenever we do a My Hair, My Health event, we always end the day by reciting together the My Black is Beautiful poem. And while we can't do it in the traditional format that we've done in the past with everybody reading collectively, I am going to read it for us. So I want to remind all of you of just how beautiful each and every one of you are. My Black is beautiful. From the color of my skin, to the texture of my hair, to the length of my strands, to the breath of my smile. My Black is beautiful. To the stride of my gait, to the span of my arms, to the depth of my bosom, to the curve of my hips, to the glow of my skin. My Black is beautiful. It cannot be denied, it will not be contained, and only I will define it. For when I look in my mirror, my very soul cries out, my Black is beautiful. And so today, I speak it out loud, unabashedly, I declare it anew, my Black is beautiful, whether celebrated, imitated, exploited, or denigrated, whether naturally from the inside or skillfully applied, my Black is beautiful. So to my daughters, my sisters, my nieces, my cousins, my colleagues, and my friends, I speak for us all when I say again, my Black is beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us for My Hair, My Health 2020, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2021. For those of you who can hang around, we have a question and answer period with all of our panelists for the day, so I encourage you to still stay back, ask your questions, because if you've got questions, we've got answers. So on the panel today, we have got wonderful presenters. I hope you have the opportunity to see all of them over the course of the day. I'm going to give them a chance now to introduce themselves to you. You have 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. And so let's first introduce Nakami Higgins.
Hello, and thank you. My name is Nakami Higgins. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, leadership coach. While my practice is based in Chino, California, I actually see women across the country and throughout the state of California. And my practice is a holistic one. It is geared towards Black professional women who need a safe space to process, to grow, to heal, and to dismantle. So I am in the business of shifting perspective and cultivating vision and harmony in all aspects of your life.
Thank you so much. And on the panel, we have got Dr. Columbus Batiste.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, especially amongst all these gorgeous Black women. And I've always felt comfortable being amongst women with my mom, my sisters growing up, my wife, my daughters, and so forth. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm an interventional cardiologist locally inside the Riverside area. I'm a strong advocate for health of everyone, but very specifically and intentionally in the African American community, because there has to be a transformation of moving us towards a better state of health. And really, as you all put it so nicely, is achieving that inner glow is the key.
Thank you so much. And we also have Miss AJ Watkins with us.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm AJ Watkins. I am the founder and CEO of All Natural Kinks. And with All Natural Kinks, everything is handmade with natural ingredients. All ingredients I make and use for the hair products are very growth promoting, health promoting. And yeah, I love what I do, and so glad you guys tuned in, and I'm excited for the questions that you all have.
Awesome. And she's got a beautiful twin, Miss Alita Watkins.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello, everyone. I have the inside scoop, and I heard that me and my sister are right next to each other. So I was like, oh, yay. But hello, everyone. My name is Lita Watkins. I'm a health educator with the Riverside Community Health Foundation. So RCHF, in partnership with Healthy Heritage and San Bernardino County, are the ones who are hosting this event. So if you're unfamiliar with RCHF, our mission is to improve the health and well-being of the community. So we have a plethora of programs for people of teens, older adults, you know, we just have about everything. We have health education classes and exercise classes. And that's what I did for My Hair, My Health. I was the facilitator for the UJAM portion. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have about UJAM or any dance, cardio, fitness. So I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. And we also have Miss Erin Young.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? It's so good to be here again. I love coming at us with this new format. You know, we've had so many different My Hair, My Health visions and different places that we've gone to throughout the years, but this new online one is great. And so honored to be here with the rest of you ladies and gent. I started my business Just Move. I'm the program director, sometimes coach, sometimes trainer, sometimes whatever you need to get people moving. But I started in 2011, so we're celebrating our 9th year. What we've been doing throughout the years is I'm a health educator by practice. My undergrad is in personal training. Well, it's fitness and wellness, but you know, I've done personal training, and I've also coached throughout the year. So the whole motivation is like the sign says, to get people moving, just move. And so I incorporate health education. I incorporate a little bit of the things that I've practiced along the way, which also included physical therapy. All of it in the whole concept is to kind of get people moving, get them educated. And after working as a health educator for a while, I kind of got tired of, you know, coming up with programs and just seeing it in there, you know, having conversations, having talks about why diabetes is no longer helpful for you and what it can be doing to your body. So I figured, how can we mix it up so that you get action as well as education? And so that's what I do. I bring action to education, and we have programs to back it up. So glad to be here.
Thank you, Erin. And last but definitely not least, we have Marissa Austin.
Hi, my name is Marissa Austin. I'm the yoga instructor. Thank you so much for inviting me to this event. It's such a pleasure. I'm actually an instructor for the San Bernardino City Unified School District. I instruct with staff members. I reach out with student workshops because, you know, a couple of years ago, they pulled health out of the education system in our city, and there was a huge need for a focus of health and wellness. And so I tried to do my best to bring it back. And here I am.
Thank you so much, Marissa. And so we will jump right into some of the questions we have from our participants. And while they may be addressed to one particular panelist, I invite any panelist to comment and share as we discuss and learn together. And so this question comes to AJ, and it's with regards to hair and healthy hair. Can you tell us a little bit about the types of hair, particularly 4B and 4C? And then we have someone who has shared that they have 4B, 4C dry hair and it doesn't like coconut oil. So is grapeseed or jojoba or argan better for the LOC treatment, is her question.
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much. So yes, if coconut oil does not work for you, completely fine. The key to 4B and 4C hair is moisture and sealing. So with that hair, you want to make sure you put some type of water-based or even water to your hair. And with that LCO method, you want to do a liquid, some type of cream, leave-in conditioner, and then you want to seal that with the oil at the end. So if you have like a spray mister, you can spray that on there. Then you want to go in with some type of leave-in conditioner, and then get your grapeseed oil, get your jojoba to actually seal in that moisture. And so oil is always good. You can also use a butter, which I find is better for sealing that moisture. So when I say seal, I mean keeping your hair moisturized for a longer period of time. So I find with our hair types, it's because I have 4C hair. So I find that any type of like shea butter or mango butter or that type of thing is also really good for sealing that moisture in, especially if you deal with a dry hair.
And so you spoke to 4C hair, you have 4C hair. What
Yeah.
is a curl pattern, and how does one know what their curl pattern or type of hair is?
You know what, the easiest way, I think I hear that it was first mentioned on Oprah with like a while back with like actually typing the hair. And so, you know, so it was somebody created that, and I find that it's really good because it helps you know how to care for your hair. I kind of will give the range. So like, so one hair is like completely straight. 2, and as you go down the line, it gets more curlier, kinkier, that type of thing. So 2 is, you know, a little bit more, still kind of like thicker, I would say. 3 is when you start getting into the curls. 4 is when you start getting into the kinks. And so again, it's just good to know your hair type for knowing like what products to put in your hair. And the easiest way I find is a Google search, just figuring out, looking at the list and comparing your hair texture. That's basically the easiest way. And that's how I figured out my hair, you know, saw people with similar texture and figure how they care for their hair. And so that's kind of how I built in the routines, again, to my own hair and to the products that I make.
Excellent. And so the goal is to seal in that moisture from the beginning and kind of build over the week, because I've had the experience where, you know, by the end of the week, it's where it should be, but it took a whole week to get there.
Yep. Yes, exactly. So I'm telling you, that sealing, getting that moisture, that sealing, that's going to keep it nice and moisturized for a longer period of time.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
And then there's one more question for you with regards to oil treatments. And do you do an oil treatment before you shampoo your hair?
Yes. So the hot oil treatment, and I kind of went over this too with my, when I did the presentation. So yeah, that hot oil treatment is what I use pre-shampoo. So that's going to get in all the nutrients and in your hair. And it's also not going to create like a dry feeling, you know, when you're using shampoo. So it's just putting that in there, and the heat is really going to help penetrate the actual hair shaft. So yeah, so I do that, and then I wash it, you know, put all that oil in there, and then, you know, just wash it out with the shampoo, and then follow that with the deep condition.
Beautiful. We are on the way to having beautiful glowing locks.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
And we have some questions around physical activity. And so for Erin, there was a question about what type of cardio can I do that won't aggravate a torn meniscus?
Yes, that's a good question. And, you know, you always want to be mindful. Some of the things I believe I shared, part of it, my experience was in physical therapy. So definitely you don't want to put a lot of pressure on your knee. So you're not going to want to do too many weight bearing activities. So since cardiovascular has to do with your heart, you can do it in different kinds of ways, like rowing. You know, obviously if you're in a gym, rowing machines would be clearly an easy way to do it. But in the absence of that, you can use any kind of activity, whether it's using a resistance, some type of resistance tubing, or you can use a rope. Even if you had something to harness it around, you can do rowing that kind of way. That'll get your heart rate going. Other things you could do is, like, I don't know if you saw my video, I made one of those ropes activities. I was able to get that harnessed, and just going through the process of being able to do that kind of thing, which obviously you can do without any equipment too. But that just gives you something to kind of keep it where you can focus on a specific area, and you can adjust like the weight and the type of activity. But I guess all of it to say is use other parts of your body to focus on. And if you have a clearance from your doctor, I would say an exercise bike is very helpful, because it'll start building up on your knee to help kind of strengthen it. So, but definitely check with your doctor.
Okay, thank you. And to that question, for all of you involved in physical activity, are any of your classes or any of the things you offer virtual, given the current environment that we're in? How can people get in touch with you and do maybe some of these things virtually?
I can go first. I can speak to that. So RCHF is doing their physical activity classes online. So for me, for UJAM, I was doing UJAM through Facebook Live. And so I'm taking a break in August, but I'm going to return in September. And then, so I'm going to be doing twice a month, so once every other week in September for UJAM Facebook Live. And then I'll be slowly transitioning to Instagram Live as well. And then with RCHF, they're really good about updating people on the classes. And with that, with RCHF, we also have an app. So like I said before, we have a whole bunch of different physical activity classes that are also online. So the easiest way to get updated on what those classes are and when they are and what platform they're going to be on, to download our app. And it's available on iOS and Google Play. So it's just called RCHF.
Thank you.
Also, I do consulting from here in my studio. So those who would be more interested in doing customized programs, looking at your specific situation, I do have that available. You can go to my website, justmove.com with MOUVE. There's no O's. And also, I'm starting an accountability group. Sometimes we need support, and getting a small group together is going to also encourage each other. And I'm doing some fitness training with that as well, as far as testing, just so you can see where you are and make sure you guys are going in the right direction. So there are various ways to get involved. Look, we're all about trying to connect folks. One of my favorite things was to do, the thing I missed the most, I'll say, is like line dancing. So I missed my line dancing class, but there are YouTube videos. I'm not going to be a hater. I'm not going to say you only have to go to me or anyone else, RCHF or whoever. There are wonderful things online. And so basically, you know, there's sort of a lot of ways to move. If you like specialized, customized things directly for you, we can help you with that. And if not, you know what, like work with what you have. And there's plenty of resources available. But just do it. At the end of the day, that's how you get improvement. Just move.
Absolutely. For yoga during the summer, I was offering small group sessions through Zoom. I am looking at shifting some of our classes to Instagram Live, hopefully a little bit later in the fall. I'm currently a teacher, so we're trying to figure out online learning, and I have a kindergartner at home who's trying to figure out online kindergarten. So it's a big time management, like let me try to figure out scheduling, and not to be, you know, I'm going to be honest, like instructing fitness classes on Zoom is the weirdest thing, not having people in front of you. And so that has taken like a huge adjustment for me, but I will be offering yoga classes, and you know, there's always YouTube. There's always YouTube. The point is to get moving.
Yes.
And that's great to know. Thank you, Marissa. That's also a really good segue into a question for you with regards to yoga and how to channel yoga with distractions at home. Like you mentioned, you have a little one. So how does someone do that?
So I'm always looking for those little moments of time that I have to myself, usually when the kids are asleep, either early mornings, late at night. If my husband and I have a schedule that happens to match up for that day, I'll have him take the kids out, and I just make sure that I have a space set aside in the home that's dedicated to my meditation and my yoga practice. And when it's mommy's time, it's off limits for the kids. Not to say that I don't invite them in this space, but it's so important, I think, that we take care of ourselves so that we can eventually have the capacity to take care of those that are around us. So
that is some good advice. And that leads me right into a question to you, Dr. Batiste. You spoke about being selfish. And you gave us permission to be selfish. And so there was a question as to how do I realistically be selfish and put that into practice in my everyday life? How does one start being selfish?
It's a great question. And I'll have to say, Marissa kind of gave a real life example of that, right? In terms of really kind of carving out moments that she's able to really focus on herself, recharge her battery, So it better enables her to go about her day with her family as well as inside of her work. And so for those who just may not remember in terms of the mnemonic of selfish, remember selfish is number one, first getting spiritual, meditation, prayer, moments of gratitude. The E for being for exercise or activity, as I like to say, kind of move, whether or not it's even just very simple in that you're logging in and doing like the online DJ, what was it, DJ Nice, who did a whole Instagram live deal just to go ahead and dance, and you do whatever it is. The L for love, the F for food, real food, I for intimacy, S for sleep, and the H for humor. And so what I always like to encourage folks that I see in clinic or whenever we're doing conferences like this is I say, take it back old school. So Marissa mentioned that she's a kindergarten, and sorry to keep calling you out, Marissa, teacher there, right? And so the old school rewards calendars is what I encourage everyone to get, the STAR calendar. And what you're going to do is you're going to commit to one of the key components of selfish. If it's food, I'm going to choose and make it very practical, very plain, very intentional. I'm going to have not just fruit, what type of fruit? Is it berries, strawberries, and apple that you're going to commit to every single day? Is it 5 minutes? Make it doable. If you're going to say, I'm going to do yoga, I'm going to do 5 minutes of yoga. That's it. All right. The baseline minimum that you can accomplish, I want you to put a star on the calendar every single time you achieve it. And the goal is not to miss more than one day in a row. That's the goal. Then you begin to add to that. And so now all of a sudden, you're going to have all these stars clustered inside of one day as you move towards small atomic changes that are going to shape your life and help you be a better version of yourself, which is how life is built on.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And all of this is such great information, and sometimes it can be overwhelming and we can be paralyzed even trying to get started. And sometimes we just need some support. So Nakami, when it comes to support, how do we know, there was a question about how do we know as women that we may need extra support, or what are some signs that we may be going through a mental health experience and like not even know it?
I'm a little biased because I am a strong believer that you don't want to wait until you're in the midst of a problem to seek help. And when it comes to working with a therapist or a coach, it's about, I love this idea of being selfish because it's about investing in you. Your health and your wellness matters. And I think we want to kind of put the period on that sentence. And if you have the financial resources to make the investment through hiring a coach or a therapist, it's a good idea to do it. I don't recommend waiting until things get tough. I work with a lot of my clients consistently to start, and then it gets to a point where they're just kind of coming to see me every month, every other month as a basic kind of self-care and wellness checkup. And that relationship really works for them. The other thing, though, is when you are choosing yourself and you're choosing to grow and you're choosing to move towards your value direction in life, it's really important to bring people into your space that can support you, that are encouraging, because the fact of the matter is growth is challenging. Choosing you, putting you first is going to require you to assert boundaries, to create space for yourself. And you want to have a network of people or a tribe that see that want to participate in that, and want to encourage you. So support can definitely be within your tribe, within your village, but when it comes to therapeutic support, when it comes to life coaching, why wait till things get bad? Oftentimes it's hard to adapt to new spaces and new ways of thinking in the midst of the storm. I always tell my clients, imagine, if you have an earthquake kit in your house somewhere, that earthquake kit is not to prevent an earthquake from happening. It's really there to help minimize, right, the discomfort that you might experience as a result of the earthquake. And so I want to encourage my clients to shift from this reactive state of living to a more proactive state of getting their needs met.
Thank you for that. And then what stops many women from taking the first step to get help?
There's a number of things. Fear. I think a lot of, I'm going to hone in on Black women. We have been conditioned and taught to believe that if we can't do it on our own, then there's a problem. So we spend a lot of time trying to fix it ourselves. We oftentimes also tell ourselves that it has to get that bad to justify getting support. So there's a delay and you're kind of existing in the turmoil of things. But there's also just not a lot of knowledge around what therapy looks like. And I think when we think of a therapist, we have an idea and an image of who that is, but there are a lot of professionals in the space that look like me. You can visit a therapyforblackgirls.com, where there's a directory of Black professionals that specialize in various areas of mental health. And when, so when thinking about getting that support, there's a lot of different reasons. I think fear, not really knowing where to start and what questions to ask. I tell all of my clients, most therapists will schedule a short consultation with you to answer any questions. And if you're not sure what questions to ask, you always start with, what are your specialty areas? Here's what I'm struggling with. What does your approach to solving or helping your clients navigate these spaces look like? You can also ask about fees, sliding scale, availability, and things like that. So, there are different things, but I will say, as a professional, I've been in this space for a very long time. I specialize in eating disorders, depression, anxiety, and imposter syndrome. And there are definitely more and more of us that are filling this space so that our communities feel comfortable reaching out for support.
Yes, indeed. And you mentioned financial resources, which is a big deal in this day and age. Some of us are losing the financial resources that we once had. And so there are questions, Dr. Batiste, about how to find a good personal physician, and then if there are low-income clinics that are available for people who may have suffered cutbacks related to COVID-19.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There are a lot of resources out there. And so in Riverside, you all do a wonderful job in terms of providing resources through the Community Health Foundation, as well as other extended through the HEAL zone too, as well as inside areas through Riverside community. So there's a lot of resources. I think one of the key things is that you have to take first in terms of finding a provider, you have to really see it as dating, right? And it doesn't mean that they're bad or that they're good, it's just whether or not you connect with them. Right. And so there's a lot of people you may have dated, for those of you out there, where you didn't get married to them, you didn't stay in a relationship. It's not that they're horrible people, but you didn't connect. So your physician, your provider, your coach, your whomever that person may be that you're going to, that tax person, you have to have a relationship with them. So I'd see it as dating to start off. And if the date goes well from the first 1, 2, 3, 4 visits, then you stay, and hey, maybe you're going to engage a little bit long-term relationship that you're going to follow with that provider for a long time. Now, here's the great thing, because you have to always look for hope, always look for things that are of value, even amidst the times of storm. What COVID has done is that now your reach here with my hair, my health is expansive. And so physicians likewise and healthcare providers have had to move to a virtual platform to meet you where you're at. And even though it may not be as ideal, even though there's a huge learning curve that's associated with it, there's going to be a huge upside to this. And being able to look, I never thought I would grocery shop online. Never thought I would select my fruits and vegetables and have them delivered to me. But guess what I do? I do exactly that. Right. And so we are going to become much more skilled in delivering healthcare as a result of the issues that have evolved from COVID-19.
Can I also second that? Because my clients absolutely love to log into their session. They got the heads wrapped up, t-shirts on, and they are ready to do really powerful work in the comfort of their home. And for those clients that have families, they manage to find ways to steal away, whether it's in the closet or in the car, but the connection doesn't get lost. And so I do want to say that when you find the right professional, that connection is definitely sustainable through a virtual medium.
Excellent. And related to finances, yet again, Alita, this question is for you. I love this question. How can donations be made to keep programs like this advancing?
That is a great question, and thank you to whoever answered it. But if you are interested in donating to, well, speaking of with Riverside Community Health Foundation specifically, is that you can send an email to Terry Akins. She's the director of the community wellness programs at RCHF, and her email is terry@rchf.org. So it's TERRI@rchf.org, and you can just send her a quick email, and then she'll be able to give you a detailed answer on how to do next steps for providing a donation, if it's specific to RCHF.
Well, it is now.
Yep.
Absolutely. Dr. Batiste, what can I do to reduce inflammation in my body? It affects my joints, and I also see swelling within my body, especially my lower extremities. I currently have high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes.
Well, thank you for the question. I think that's a powerful question, because what we find that all of these chronic disease states, they seem to be overlapped as it relates to the nutritional standpoint. And so as we move away from pro-inflammatory foods that are acidic, animal products, dairy products, and we move towards really adopting, that's why I spoke to very specifically and intentionally in increasing fruits. Even though you're diabetic, yes, right? Fruits are not bad for you. It's the substitution, it's the man-made version of the sugar that's problematic. It's the candy bars, it's the sugar-sweetened beverages that are problematic. It's the juices. Eat the fruit and don't drink the juice. Become extremely powerful in decreasing your inflammation. Why? Because they work from an antioxidant standpoint. They help to transform the body. So we know that fruits and vegetables, beans, whole grains, they are extremely powerful in really helping to quell the onslaught of diabetes, blood pressure elevation, as well as the layered fat, the visceral fat, right? So there's a phenomenon out there. Oftentimes we like to judge folks from the outside and say, oh, they're fit, oh, they're doing well. Well, there's a concept out there called TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside, right? That means where the organs are all surrounded by fat. That actually is more detrimental to you than the other way. And so the key is being very intentional, because we all know what we're what we're doing. And so what I tell my kids on a daily basis is once again, is that I don't care about your grades, I care about your actions on a daily basis. Are you putting in the work and the time? And so with every meal, focus on, am I getting in those fruits? Am I getting the vegetables, the raw vegetables? I'm not talking about soaked in butter. I'm not talking about where they're so limp and everything's all taken out of it. I mean, vegetables that you can still taste the crunch, that you're going to begin to explore the flavor of the arugula, and you're going to throw in there the onions from the alum family that can lower your blood pressure, the blueberries that are going to be rich in antioxidants. And here's the last tip for you. Remember this, if the fruit that you're eating doesn't turn brown, it's going to be rich in antioxidants. Remember that. When you cut an apple, it turns brown. Not that it's bad for you. When you slice a banana, it turns brown. Not that it's bad for you. But what happens to your berries, your blueberries, your raspberries, your strawberries, your pomegranate seeds? They don't turn brown like that. They're very rich in antioxidants, which can be powerful in staving off disease.
Excellent. Good to know.
Can I throw in something to it?
Yes, please.
Like, just to tag team with Dr. Baptiste is, getting some movement in. And I know like pooling is definitely something that, he can speak to more of, but when your fluids start pooling in your body, being able to be active helps you with your circulation. So if it's issue related to that, and like I said, Dr. Baptiste can probably back me up on this one, just getting some more activity, whether it's just starting out with the walking or that kind of thing, moving your limbs a little bit more, stretching and that type of thing, does a lot to kind of get your body movement, your fluids moving in your body, so that it can help to reduce some inflammation. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And so what I'll say to that is too, as well, is the fact that very simple, it can be very low impact. Doing simple things like most studies have shown just simply walking is extremely powerful. It's powerful in terms of your diet, your blood sugar control, for your blood pressure control. But here's the key. We know even doing yoga can help strengthen the lining of the vessels that supply the body, called the endothelium. That magical endothelium is so powerful that it's predictive of those who will develop blood pressure, those who will develop hypertension and stroke. And so as we begin to nurture that, and think of the endothelium as like a Teflon pan. When it's intact, nothing sticks to it. It doesn't allow damage of the pan itself. But once it degrades, all heck breaks out, right? You know, so it becomes important. So yes, motion is extremely important. We have to move. If we don't move, it's problematic short and long term.
I had a colleague who would always say, motion is lotion when it comes to our joints. So you gotta move. You always gotta
Everyone
move.
is, sitting is a new smoking. Like that's the big thing, nowadays that's being spoke about. And there's so many different things that have been gone out as far as research studies that, just increasing, even just up to, what was it? Just including that much more fitness in your life is going to make a big difference because you're not sitting and keeping your body compressed. Because what happens when you sit down, and you stay in that position for a long time, anything that you're that's stagnant, it's going to slow down and it's not going to be able to perform at its high capacity. So if you're using your muscles, you are promoting longevity, and that includes your heart. So
it also aids in the reduction of depression and anxiety. So
yes.
Absolutely. It's a trifecta. Yes.
The live pass right there. Go ahead and take it.
Yes, absolutely. So Erin, can you give us, recommend rather a few exercises such as range of motion for people that have limited mobility?
Yes, I would definitely say starting off slow is going to be a good thing. I don't know if I probably shouldn't say this, but we had a saying that we say in the gym, and it's like, basically don't push your body outside of its limit. I think sometimes we see other people doing different things and we're like, oh, well, they can touch their toes. I should just be able to get up and do the same thing. Well, let's be reasonable about it. Let's, if you haven't been in a habit of moving a lot, I would say definitely do it from a seated position first, maybe work on reaching down. If you can get to your knees pretty good, then awesome. As far as like just, sitting and reaching to your knees and slowly, going from there. The biggest thing I'd say when it comes to especially stretching, it's like holding a static position. I think a lot of times, I don't know if you're watching TV or you see the runners kind of bouncing and doing that kind of thing, as you're kind of like, like that's not doing anything to the length of your muscle. If the idea is to lengthen your muscle, you want to have it in a position to where you're allowing it time to be able to stretch. And warming it up before you go into any kind of stretch is going to be a good thing. So yeah, definitely starting small, progress as your body allows you to progress. And don't put yourself in a position where, it's going to be detrimental. Like if you haven't done this in a long time, you're not about to get up right now and, put your hand flat on the floor. It's not going to happen. So respect your body and take your time, and your body will grow as you allow it to. So.
Can I add one quick thing to that? So our CHF also has low impact exercises as well. So we have AFEP, which is the Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program, and that can be found in our app as well. And that is also through Zoom and sometimes Facebook Live on our senior group through our CHF. And we also do Tai Chi classes. So that's also low impact, that focuses on breath and controlled movement as well. So that those two are also options.
Great, good to know. And Nakami, can you give us some tips on how to create balance in our lives?
I'll be honest, I don't promote balance, I promote harmony. For me, balance is kind of this idea of trying to balance two things, but as human beings, we're juggling multiple things in our life. So my first tip would be to shift from balance to harmony, and really asking what would harmony look like for me, given that sometimes my life is going to require me to be all in one area versus others. I am a mother of two. I have a husband who's an entrepreneur. I have my own business. Balance would be an unrealistic expectation for me to try to achieve. And so I achieve harmony through transparency. I communicate with my family when my workload is demanding, when my schedule is demanding. I help my kids understand when I can't fully be present in mom mode because I have other obligations. Harmony also creates space for grace, and it allows me to be permissive to get busy. It also gives me permission to rest in the pause when I need to rest in the pause. So my tip would be maybe shift from balance and consider this perspective towards harmony. And in making that shift, really looking at, for you, what does harmony look like for me, given that there are a lot of things that I'm having to juggle? And within that, remember to rest when you're tired. Remember to operate in transparency. There are going to be times when you have to be all in one area of your life, and you want to make sure that your family and your loved ones who depend on you understand that that is where your attention is needed. I would also say, as far as balance, and I said it earlier today, always be mindful that your time is valuable. Okay. And so in achieving harmony, you have to be very aware of who you're giving your time to, who's, giving you back that energy. And if you're giving more than you're receiving, then it's important to really assess and evaluate, am I pouring too much in one area and it's not restoring me in any way, shape, or form? So you have to kind of move through space and time, understanding that your time is of value and everybody can't have access to it.
That's right.
Absolutely, yes. And Marissa, you spoke about working with our kids. So how do we get our kids moving? Are they receptive in the schools when you do your programs there? And what kind of tips can we give to our parents at home now that our kids are at home with us almost 24/7?
For the little ones, if you do things that involve storytelling while you're doing the stretches, the kids are a little bit more receptive to that, and they want to see you on the ground doing the stretches with them. For the older kids, for adolescents, I've always started with meditation, just to kind of give them that space for reflection. I think we don't teach our students that in the education system. And so kind of guiding them through what meditation looks like, bringing that mind body awareness that, normally they don't know how they're feeling for that day, and you talk them through that. Once they start making those connections, they seem to open up a lot more to the hippie yoga stuff that Miss Austin would bring to the classroom. So it's a lot of communication. It's super important that, you're also leading by your own example. If they see mommy sitting in the corner, just breathing or praying or worshiping or whatever it is to regain that energy that she needs for the day, then they will see the value in that.
Thank
I
you
like
for
to throw out
that.
an option too, which is awesome.
Yes, please, Erin.
With kids. So I've done sports programs with kids for, I don't know, for a while, but nonetheless, getting the kids involved and making it like a family activity is always a wonderful thing. And I'll show an example. I would think, a big thing to get is balls. Now, definitely, I wouldn't throw a medicine ball at a kid at all. I don't recommend it. But any kind of ball is going to be wonderful. And just, as a family activity, like getting out to the park and like just kind of walking together, that kind of thing is great. But, I know you've seen these games before where you would have everybody kind of lining up together. And what you would do is, you could do a contest. So say if you have maybe, I don't know, say 6 of you guys, split up in teams of 2, have a ball on each side. I would even use, I guess if you're going to do it with kids that are smaller or, that aren't as big, you can use something big like this. They love big balls. And, practice going over, under, you know what I mean? Everybody's getting their exercise that way, over your head, under, and then whoever can come around the most time in a given amount of time, everybody's moving, everybody's getting active, the adults are getting something out of it. If it's a mom and dad type of a thing, or you have older kids or something like that, I would use a medicine ball. And what I like to do when I do even something I do with group sessions, you would, have someone on the opposite end of the room, I would say, and you would go over, turn it into like a wood chopper over your side, drop it, let the ball roll to the next person. They're picking it up over their legs and doing the same thing. So you kind of have a game going out of it, and just using different things like a ball or, resistance bands or just different kind of things. You can play soccer that involves like, kinesthetic movement with your legs and just getting them active and moving and having fun together. It's a good way to kind of get out of the house, away from the TV, and just kind of get some fresh air. So that's my suggestion.
Yes.
I just want to say about, I love the idea. I agree wholeheartedly. Meditation, guided visualizations are something that you should introduce to your kids as soon as possible. One of the things that we all kind of are aware is that our kids are watching us, and they watch how we cope, they watch how we problem solve, and they are also kind of showing up in this school space. My 7-year-old is looking at a computer and is literally about to lose his mind because he's supposed to be in school, not at home. But YouTube has some really great guided visualizations or meditations that you can play for your kids at bedtime. You can purchase diffusers for your kids and let them pick out their favorite scents to smell at nighttime. But it's just a really great way to help our kids and teach our kids how to cope, versus kind of looking outwardly or externally towards things that only provide kind of temporary satisfaction. And so those are really great opportunities to, again, allow our kids to tap into their innate ability to soothe and to calm and to move through difficult times if they're dealing with stress or worry or high energy.
Great.
tie back in.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to tie back in terms of with the, I'm going to speak a little out of turn being the only male on this panel here, is that I want to give acknowledgement to the other Watkins, the all natural kinks there, is because I think it's so powerful, really, just the transformation inside of our African-American community where African-American women and girls are getting more comfortable wearing their own natural hair and learning how to style it and how to be proud of it and to live it. And the reason why that's so important to me is because not only from a standpoint of their own self-confidence, that then hopefully can offset the propensity towards depression and some anxiety, especially in the teenage years, allows them to engage in the outdoors activities, right? Without worrying about, oh, I'm gonna mess my hair up, right? And everything else like that, you know? And so now perhaps, once again, these keystone habits that are built now can build upon that additional habits of eating healthier. And now we're really transforming a whole generation. Yeah. And so we can't lose sight of that. I think it's so important, even though it's not directly related to the heart, it's my observation. Once again, multiple sisters, a daughter, and I love the era that we're living in where she can actually take pride in herself and doesn't feel, because early on, truth be told, she would come back and she was always wanting to have the hair and the look of people who look nothing like her. And I was so greatly saddened to see that. And I wish I was an author. I would have written a ton of books. I wish I was a doll maker. I would have made 1,000 dolls. And so I love what you all are doing, and specifically you in terms of with the hair. I think it's so valuable. So I just didn't want to let this moment pass without thanking you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that so much. Yes, it's so true. Like, you know, for me, you know, I definitely faced a lot of insecurities growing up around my hair and kind of seeing everybody, you know, that didn't have hair like me, you know, getting, you know, just always idolized, you know, and I always felt like, man, you know, why don't I look like that? Or why isn't my hair that way? And so I think representation is key. And I see, like, you know, scrolling, like there's just, you know, there's different hair textures, there's different skin textures, and, you know, different ways to wear your hair when you are doing exercise. So I love the direction that it's going to as well. So yeah, it's motivating, and I'm glad, you know, that I can be motivating, you know, for some of the people that I see. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. And it is all related. As a matter of fact, the whole My Hair, My Health movement started in the Inland Empire.
Like, hey, wait a minute, it's a full circle moment.
It started in the Inland Empire because of that very thing. I was given an assignment from the state in the program that I work in to actually reevaluate a physical activity brochure from the perspective of African Americans. And so I did the focus group. And what was supposed to be 30 minutes turned into a 90-minute session that was heated. There was contention as to the images that were used, what was said, how it related to our hair. And from that, we saw that there really is a need for us to really have a space to have conversations about what we need to do to be healthy, because oftentimes when this started 9 years ago, hair was such a big deal. We were just skipping the physical activity altogether. Or if we did it, it was to the end of the cycle. So if I got my hair pressed today, maybe 4 weeks from now, when it's time to get it done again, I'll think about it. And so that's kind of how the My Hair, My Health movement started in the Inland Empire. And it's so funny that you said that, like, yes, it is indeed full circle. It is all related. And so we just continue to promote health from the inside out, promote health from the perspective of hair. I know there was a question for you, AJ, as to, how do I start a healthy hair regime? And you shared with us direct ways to do things straight from our kitchen. And I know Dr. Batiste would say it starts in the kitchen with what you're eating. So it is all very much related. Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
And we are running out of time. This is so very good, but there's one more item that I'd like to be addressed before we leave. I was hearing that, we gotta, when it comes to physical activity, at least we have to make sure that it's fun and something that our kids enjoy to do, and then do it as a family. And we are role models for our children, not only in physical activity, but in diet and in how we handle stress and make decisions. And with physical activity, particularly, maybe taking some things outdoors. And there was a question, Dr. Batiste, and anybody can jump in on this, with regards to emphasizing the importance of social distancing, because some people don't seem to be taking it very seriously. So how do we do all of these things in a social distancing type of climate? And everybody can jump in and share.
Yeah, I'll kick it off, since you mentioned my name in the question there. But I always say it's not about social distancing, it's about physical distancing, right? So we need these social bonds, as I brought forth in the talk, that helps us arm our immune system. It helps us have a sense of community, which is important. So we're actually socially engaging right now, even though we're physically distanced. And so that's really the key. But that is indeed the primary method we need to implement in order to stop this pandemic. Right, we know the transmission that's there. We know the transmission that happens individual to individual. We know it's through airflows, but if there are small gatherings or things that take place outdoors, obviously with the airflow, it's different and so forth, but you still need to make sure that you're masked, not so you protect yourself, so you are protected against someone else. It's a great story is what if you start coming down with a cold or a flu, but you say, I don't think I have it. And you start walking around, right? You have to go out, you live by yourself or whatever it may be, and you're going out, you're exposing everyone else around you. And as individuals, we don't know. And so if no one wore it and only one person is wearing it, everyone's going to be safe. They have the scarlet letter on. But if we're all wearing it and it's a norm, we're decreasing that transmission, which is so important, because I characterize this as the Peter Parker effect. And so for those of you who don't know, Peter Parker was a superhero Spider-Man, right? And so when he got his powers, he actually allowed a robber to pass by because he said, it's not my job. It's not my business. That robber later on went on and killed someone close to him, his Uncle Ben. So our efforts can come back and bite us in the butt and attack someone in our family by the fact that we are negligent and we don't take the appropriate precautions to distance ourselves physically. It's not a political issue. This is a science issue. It's not a political issue. This is a medical issue that we're dealing with. We're knowing the fact that even if you walk around, you contract the virus and you have zero symptoms, studies after study is starting to tell us and reveal that it still is impacting your body. It's still impacting your heart, leading to inflammation. It's still impacting your lungs. And so these things are so profound that we do not have the space or the time to let this go without dealing with it, which is why America still is suffering and we're the leaders. We're sicker and sooner than every other country. And amongst us, amongst America, African Americans are sicker and sooner than everyone else.
Anyone else want to jump in on that?
I'll just say and this is just from personal experience, I was someone who really enjoyed going to the gym as often as possible. It was a great stress relief. And I don't go to the gym anymore because of those concerns, but I have shifted the time of day. So, if you're someone that really wants to start implementing exercise, I like to exercise in the earliest part of the day. So around 6:37 a.m. It's cooler. There's not as many people out there. So I'm able to kind of keep some distance from everyone. But it also allows me to get my day started. I personally find that when you get exercise done at the beginning of the day, you get to let the rest of the day kind of fall where it may. By the end of the day, there are a lot of excuses percolating around 5 and 6 o'clock as to why you shouldn't go on that walk. So choosing to go earlier in the day when there's less people out there, it really allows you to, and by go, walking around your neighborhood. So I just run around my neighborhood. I've downloaded some apps on my phone and I'm able to exercise at home or in my backyard. So I'm able to practice that safety and still honor my physical needs as far as exercise is concerned.
Great. Any other tips from our panelists?
Yeah, a few things I'll say. One of which would be make sure. I think a good thing is to assess your physical space and see what that is. There are opportunities for you to move inside your house depending on what's going on and how your house is shaped. Some people may have stairs. That is a great opportunity to get some physical activity in. But then also in your backyard, what can you do to your backyard spaces? To kind of promote different things, especially if you are into, whatever it is that you may like. A free wall can mean 1,000 things. It can mean handball for your kids, but it also can mean, something you can do, sit-ups and push-ups and different things that you can do, like that to your yard, with your yard. Also, looking at what your neighborhood looks like. I'm in, the Inland Empire close to the mountains. So going on a hike, you can wear your mask when you're hiking. There are not as many people out there. Again, that fresh air, that sun, and also, the grade of going up and around the mountains is going to do a wonderful thing for you. And the last thing I would say is with having, just some accountability, people to hold you accountable for what it is that you like to do, whether that's texting some friends who also are going to be on the same type of a goal. For example, if you have a fit watch or something, you can talk to your girls and say, okay, for this week, we're going to do 3,000 steps more than we did, that we normally do. You know what I mean? Start something small and just progress off of that. And then I found the statistic I was talking to you guys about earlier, because I'm a health educator. I can't help it. And in regards to the whole sedentary lifestyle, it's saying that mortality rate is increased by 2 to 8% per hour when the total consecutive time seated is 8 hours a day. So your longevity literally is being wasted anytime you sit down more than 8 hours a day, and that can add up pretty quickly. So whatever it is that you do, whether it's with somebody else, whether it's dancing in your house with your family or whoever else is watching, or just going outside and walking, you gotta do it. You know what I mean? Your health depends on it, and if you're not here, you can't support someone else that's in your family. So it's important.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Erin. Any last words, Alita or Marissa or AJ?
Just get moving. Inside or out. No excuses.
No excuses.
Absolutely. Yes.
And hey, check out I have a free ebook on my page. So it's open to whoever may use it. I have a lot of suggestions in there, and hey, it's free. Take it and use it. So
we will do that. Thank you, Erin. Alita, can men and women be part of your class?
Yes, anybody and with any demographic can be a part of the class. I just say my only rule is just keep moving. If you see a move that's like, oh, that's a little fast for me. I have people in my class that are 75-year-old women that are like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the classic 2-step because I like the music. So that's all I can do. And I love it. So anybody with any demographic can do UJAM.
Can I ask a quick question? Is the Tai Chi virtual? I have been looking for a Tai Chi class. Is it virtual?
Yes, it is virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go. And AJ, any last words for all of us on our natural hair journey?
So I'll say my first thought and then I'll kind of go. I just appreciate everybody's input. Like I'm learning. Like I was, here like on mute, like, yes, yes, yes. So I really appreciate just everybody's input, like, because this is what we need. This is what we need during this time. And, you know, again, my hair, my health, bringing it all together. Like, this has just been, it's been great. It's been great. And, you know, with hair, like it was said, full circle, everything's related. So, you know, like physical activity is going to help with the blood flow in the hair. The diet is key, you know, getting the spinach and I heard beans and fruit, all those things. Like, these are all, everything is connected. And if you have a healthy diet, you know, and you know, your goal is to get that long hair, healthy hair, that's going to help that.
Absolutely. And what I heard was now, the urgency is now. Now is the time to do all these things. Now is the time to reclaim our glow, whether it's physical, mental, inner glow, or our hair's glow. And so thank you all for being with us for My Hair, My Health 2020. Thank you for all the information you have shared. And to all of those in our listening audience, our attendees, we are glad you are with us today, and we look forward to seeing you in 2021. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening, and see you at My Hair, My Health 2021.